Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we stand at a moment that is nothing short of historic. President Donald J. Trump has once again shaken the foundations of global politics with what can only be described as a political earthquake. A bombshell announcement on Israel that has left America's allies stunned, the media scrambling, and the political establishment gasping for air. And I am here to tell you this is not just another policy move. This is a seismic shift, a turning point in how America views its role in the Middle East, in global diplomacy, and in defending its values. For decades, the so-called foreign policy experts, the entrenched elites, and the self-anointed intellectuals have told us that stability in the Middle East depends on compromise, on half measures, and on endless deals that never deliver. They told us that America must apologize for its strength, back away from its allies, and bend the knee to international pressure. And yet, Donald Trump once again has defied them. He has stood tall and made it crystal clear that Israel is not just another country to America. Israel is our ally, our partner in freedom, and a symbol of what it means to resist tyranny in a world increasingly hostile to faith, liberty, and sovereignty. Here's the first key point you need to understand. Trump's announcement is not about division. It is about clarity. For too long, America has been mired in confusion about where we stand. One administration signs a deal, the next tears it apart, and the world laughs at our inconsistency. Trump, with this bold move, has drawn a line in the sand. He has declared with unmistakable force that the United States stands unapologetically with Israel, not halfway, not conditionally, not with hesitation, but fully, firmly, and forever. This is not a message only to Israel. It is a message to Iran, to Hamas, to Hezbollah, and to every regime or terror group that thinks it can bully, threaten, or undermine one of America's strongest allies. It is a message that America will not back down, will not surrender its principles, and will not allow terrorists to dictate the future of the Middle East. And friends, let me expand on why this matters. Because clarity saves lives. When our enemies know we are serious, they think twice before attacking. When our allies know we are loyal, they act with confidence instead of fear. And when the world sees that America will stand with Israel no matter what, it sends shockwaves to the halls of power in Tehran, Moscow, and Beijing. It tells them that the old games are over. Trump is not playing by their rules. He is rewriting them. That is why this announcement matters more than any diplomatic memo or lukewarm press release from Washington. It is bold, it is decisive, and it changes the balance of power. Now, the second key point, this is not just about foreign policy. It is about the heart of America's values. You see, standing with Israel is not only a strategic decision, it is a moral one. Israel is the only democracy in the Middle East, a nation built on resilience, innovation, and faith. It is a country that reflects the very principles we cherish: freedom of speech, the rule of law, respect for human rights, and the courage to defend its people. And while our elites are quick to lecture us about diversity and inclusion, they conveniently forget that Israel embodies those values every single day while surrounded by hostile neighbors who seek its destruction. Trump's bombshell announcement is a reminder that America does not abandon its friends. It is a reminder that strength and morality are not mutually exclusive. When we stand with Israel, we are not only protecting an ally, we are protecting the very idea that freedom can survive in the darkest corners of the world. We are standing up for truth against lies, for courage against cowardice, for light against darkness. That is what makes this moment so powerful. Of course, the critics are already screaming. They say Trump is reckless, that he is provoking instability, that he is jeopardizing peace. But let me ask you, what peace has come from decades of weakness? What stability came from endless negotiations that produced nothing but more bloodshed? The truth is, peace comes through strength, and stability comes through clarity. Trump knows this. That is why his announcement matters, because he is not afraid to tell the truth and act on it, no matter how unpopular it may be with the elites in Washington or Brussels. So tonight, as the world reacts with shock and as America's allies scramble to adjust, I say this: we should not fear bold leadership. We should embrace it. We should celebrate a president who puts America's values above globalist approval. And we should recognize that what Trump has done is not reckless but righteous. This bombshell on Israel will be remembered not as a reckless gamble, but as a courageous stand. Allies may be stunned, enemies may be angered, but history will mark this as a moment when America reclaimed its voice, its vision, and its values on the world stage. Let's talk about what this announcement really means, because too many people in Washington, too many people in the media, and too many so-called experts are missing the point. This isn't about division. This isn't about chaos. This isn't about recklessness. What President Trump did with this bold statement on Israel is about clarity. For decades, our nation has been trapped in a cycle of confusion when it comes to the Middle East. One administration makes a promise, the next one backs out. One signs a treaty, the next tears it up. One president pledges undying loyalty to Israel. The next treats it like a bargaining chip to impress the United Nations. That cycle of inconsistency has been devastating not only for America's credibility, but also for global stability. And what Trump has done here is draw a bright red line. He has told the world America stands with Israel without hesitation, without apology, and without games. That kind of clarity is rare in politics, and it is powerful. You see, when a nation like the United States sends mixed messages, the cost isn't just diplomatic embarrassment. The cost is real lives. Our enemies, whether they are in Tehran or hiding in tunnels in Gaza, watch our actions more than our words. They look for weakness, they test hesitation, and they exploit uncertainty. When we act like we don't know where we stand, when we shuffle our feet and talk about balancing perspectives, it emboldens those who thrive on violence and intimidation. Clarity, on the other hand, saves lives. When America says firmly and without compromise, we stand with Israel, it sends a signal that cannot be misunderstood. It tells our enemies that we are serious and that the consequences of testing us will be severe. That is strength. That is deterrence. That is peace through clarity. And let's be honest, for far too long, our allies have doubted us. They've seen American leaders who campaign on support for Israel only to backtrack once they face international pressure. They've seen the doublespeak, the excuses, the endless diplomatic jargon that tries to please everyone but ends up pleasing no one. Trump cut through that nonsense in a single stroke. He showed Israel and the world that America is not going to waver like a reed in the wind. We are not going to compromise our loyalty for the sake of approval from the global elite. Instead, we will make it known Israel can count on America today, tomorrow, and for generations to come. Now, critics will say this kind of clarity is dangerous, that it stirs the pot, that it alienates others in the region. But let me ask you this, what has the opposite strategy achieved? What good has come from decades of half measures and endless negotiations where terrorists are rewarded and our allies are left second-guessing us? The truth is, weakness never brought peace, indecision never built trust, and hesitation never created stability. Only strength does that. Only clarity does that. That's why this announcement is so important. It breaks the cycle of confusion and restores a sense of direction that both our allies and our enemies can understand. So make no mistake, this is not about creating division. This is about ending confusion. It is about letting the world know exactly where America stands and proving that our word means something again. In a world full of uncertainty, Trump has given us clarity. And clarity, my friends, is not reckless. It is righteous. It is what keeps our allies safe, our enemies in check, and America respected once more. When we talk about standing with Israel, we must recognize that this is not simply a cold calculation of foreign policy strategy. This is not about geography or oil or some temporary arrangement of convenience. No, this is deeper. This is about America's very identity, about the values that define us as a nation, and about the moral responsibility we carry in a world that too often bends to evil rather than confronting it. Israel is more than an ally. It is a reflection of what it means to be free in one of the most dangerous regions of the world. And when President Trump drops a bombshell of support for Israel, he is not just aligning us strategically, he is reminding us who we are morally. Think about what Israel represents. It is the only democracy in the Middle East. Surrounded by nations that seek its destruction, it has built a thriving society rooted in freedom of speech, freedom of religion, innovation, and human rights. It is a place where women can vote, where minorities can serve in government, where ideas flourish, and where citizens defend their homeland with courage. Now compare that to its neighbors, regimes that suppress dissent, that trample women's rights, that celebrate terrorism as state policy. The contrast could not be sharper. By standing with Israel, America is not just choosing a partner for defense. We are choosing to stand on the side of freedom over tyranny, truth over lies, and life over death. That is moral clarity. And yet you will hear critics in the media and in academia argue that this is all about politics. They will say that Trump is alienating other countries, that his announcement was unnecessary, or that Israel should be held to impossible double standards. But ask yourself this, why is Israel a democracy that protects freedoms constantly demonized, while dictatorships that brutalize their own people are given a pass? The answer is simple, because Israel represents light in a region that prefers darkness, and the world hates clarity when it challenges its comfortable illusions. Trump refuses to bow to that hypocrisy. He understands that supporting Israel is not about scoring political points, but about affirming America's deepest values. On a strategic level, the relationship makes perfect sense. Israel is our strongest partner in intelligence, counterterrorism, and military innovation. Its technology saves American lives. Its cooperation prevents terrorist attacks not only in the Middle East, but across the globe. To weaken that partnership would be madness. But on a moral level, the case is even stronger. If America abandons Israel, we are not just abandoning a friend, we are abandoning the principle that freedom is worth defending, that democracies should support each other, and that evil should never be rewarded with silence. That is why Trump's decision is so powerful, because it recognizes that strategy and morality are not separate, they are intertwined. So let's be clear, when Trump announced his bombshell, he wasn't just talking to Israel. He was talking to every American who believes in faith, liberty, and loyalty. He was talking to every freedom-loving person across the globe who wants to know whether America still has the courage to defend what is right. And the answer in that moment was yes. America does not abandon its friends, America does not retreat from its values, and America does not let bullies decide the fate of democracies. This is why the announcement matters. It is not just a policy shift, it is a moral declaration. It is a reminder that America's strength is not only measured in weapons and treaties, but in the courage to do what is right, even when the world is stunned, even when the critics scream, and even when it costs us approval. Because in the end, history does not remember the applause of the elites. It remembers whether we stood firm for freedom.